4.5 years on from the pandemic, it's easy to forget what it felt like in those first few months of the first lockdown. We set two key priorities. The first was to keep the company together, to look after everyone. And then the second one was, how were we going to reach audiences? Not just here in Poole, we thought we might get a small audience here in Poole with social distancing, but all of our out of town venues, all our audiences across the southwest.
We created a large stage extension so that we could actually socially distance the orchestra and come back with full symphonic works, which was, I believe, completely unique. So we created a temporary studio here, we put a team together.
And then really we just went for it, not really knowing what was going to happen. But the audience reaction was so extraordinary. And really once we got to that point, for me, there was no question that it had to continue.
A typical live stream week here at BSO starts at a very bright and breezy 7 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. We've got a lovely hall here in Poole. Lighthouse is a fantastic acoustic, great to listen to and equally good to play in.
We start with an empty hall and we load in all the equipment, set all the microphones up. Everything that's on the floor of the concert hall on the stage is removed every week on a Wednesday after the concert.
But it's fair to say that our work for any digital concert starts well before this deadline. Our shot planning begins probably 3 to 4 days before each concert, where David is going through the scores and trying to work out which set of instruments to have on screen at any particular time. This is done from an audio file, so in an interesting way the concerts are completely scripted and planned before we even get to see the orchestra on a Monday morning.
I do a mix of both listening to a recording of the music and reading through the score. We'll have somewhere in the region of 500-600, sometimes even 700 shots. These will vary from wides to section shots to close-ups. I'll do this based off the score and again based off the audio that I can hear. Although something may look interesting, if you can't hear it, there's generally not that much point in showing it. And vice versa, if you can hear something really prominently and you can't see it on screen, then I think, oh, why are they showing me a violin player when I can hear the trumpets blaring at the other end of the hall?
But occasionally you might want to put a counter melody, you might want to put some of the harmony, some of the support, if like the double basses, the violas, the bassoons and stuff like that. They're some of the funnest people within the orchestra. I love watching Nicole just absolutely legging it. it's full power. No, it's just fun. We got some characters, and you kind of want to show that because I think that's the part that's most fun about having a constant stream of digital concerts. Is you get to see the players week in, week out. You get to get a little bit of their personality. You get to learn. You learn to know them.
I spend most of the day going through the spreadsheet that I've been given, which has a list of shots that I need to save. So I basically use the rehearsal time to note down which shots are available on which cameras and to save them using this camera controller. So I put all that information into the spreadsheet so that when we come to choose which shots we want at which time, David can look at the spreadsheet and he can say, okay, at this point I want a shot of the flutes. I know that's available on cameras 1, camera 2, camera 3, for example.
And then I come back in, often with their help, and choose which camera each shot's going to be on. Part of it is which shots that I particularly like, which angles that I like. Part of it will be which angles that either Sam or Abe have said are good in their comments.
And then this is all placed into the hard copy score, and my job actually on the night is to go through the score and, like a conductor on stage, is conducting the shots and hitting the cut points.
So during rehearsal, I set a balance for each the starting point for each piece, and then I record that into the console for different pieces, different movements of pieces. So that's the starting point we go from. All the microphones, of which there's about 50 on a standard setup, come into this console from the hall, and then they're grouped into sections. So example, the firsts, the seconds, the violas, the celli are all into groups. And then the different microphones I can access on different layers of the console. So all of those microphone inputs are brought into the centre of the console, where we then use mastering tools to produce the final mastered product that goes out onto the live stream. We're trying to replicate the sound of the hall, as well as to bring things maybe a little closer just for all the close-up shots, so that the sound and the vision correlate together, and that we're transmitting the artist's intentions and interpretation of the piece.
Once we've gone through and picked every camera for the show, it's then printed off in a sheet, and during the show I sit with the button panel here, and I use this to move the cameras around.
We have 5 remote control cameras which are providing the majority of the shots of the show.
1 through 3 are affixed to the walls, so they're the ones that you'll see looking in on the stage from the audience perspective, and 4 and 5 we put on the stage. So often the camera 4 will be behind the violins on one side of the stage, and camera 5 will be a bit further round. So any shots looking outwards are normally camera 5.
During the actual concert, the operation of those 5 cameras is split between me and David. So David will be recording presets. I then might need to tweak it a bit. This is usually because the orchestra will sit in a slightly different position than they have been, or a microphone might be in a slightly different position. We just have to tweak it slightly to make sure that it still works.
I'm positioned in between the person on the vision mixer and one of our 2 wonderful camera operators. Obviously the vision mixer operator needs very clear signals from me, so we're all keeping to the same script.
Richard will be reading off the score, and he'll be telling me what is coming up next. So there'll be shot 57 next, and cut, and then at that moment it's up to me to be like right on time, right on the beat. Because if you come in a bit late, you see the players just stop playing, or you miss the entry point.
Before joining the BSO, I was a musician for 25, 30 years. So following scores is pretty second nature to me. It's a bit like conducting on stage, but you're conducting a visual concert instead. And cut.
And for us, what was incredibly important is this was live music making. So it wasn't another video or another something put together. This was live music making.
And a massive part of that is our team of incredible presenters. We've got some of the UK's best classical music broadcasters.
Welcome to tonight's concert given by the Bournemouth Symphony Orchestra here at Lighthouse, Poole. I'm Sarah Walker and I'm your host tonight, looking forward to a concert of magnificent contrasts.
I work really closely with the presenters to make sure that they have everything that they need to pull together a script ahead of the night. So there will be things that we plan. We'll have fixed script based around the length of the pieces, the length of the stage moves, all of that sort of thing. If there's a piano move, we need to consider up to 5 minutes of material there so that the audience at home, are feeling part of the live experience. And then we'll be doing things like pre-recording interviews with guest artists and conductors.
After Brahms attempted the symphony, it's Clara Schumann who actually told him, I think you can't really start your symphony with a very sharp start, which starts from the allegro. She mentions maybe we can do something that leads into this the start of your symphony.
When it comes to the concert itself, I'm working with the sound engineer, Chris, and also with the orchestra management team side of stage to make sure that we're coordinating everything so that the events run off the script. We've timed things so that when the presenter has done their introduction and we've played out the pre-recorded interview, we're then ready for tuning to begin and we're ready for the leader to walk on, and so that everything flows seamlessly.
In all of the amazing team effort that this has been, there is one person whose vision and passion and incredible hard work has really enabled this to be a reality, and that's Anthony Brown, our head of marketing and digital. He came up with ideas on how we can sell tickets through our website that no other company had come up with, and is now being used across the world with lots of different companies who are now using the same technology as we have. He had this feel for the sense of live, the use of presenters, the wanting to invest in the best quality cameras and audio equipment to enable us to deliver a recording and a live experience which is in every way equivalent to that in the concert hall, and he deserves the absolute utmost credit and thanks.
I think the product we've created now is amazing. From the camera work to everyone on the team has evolved and continues to evolve in the content that we're providing and the service we're providing. It's fantastic to hear the feedback from people who are watching and listening all over the world, and amazing that we can take orchestral music to people who wouldn't be able to come to the concert hall. It's a different experience than being in the concert hall. I love being in the concert hall, listening in the actual space that the orchestra are performing in, but you get a different aspect when you're watching it online with all the close-up shots and the different camera work. So between the two, it's great to do both.
Usually you can feel when it's gone well, and there's a lot of pride, first of all, but just excitement and energy. Yeah, it's always real fun, and that's why we do it. We just love the music, we love the experience, we love showing it, we love sharing it, and yeah, I think that's it. Enjoy the concert.